One Zambia, One Nation, thank you so much for joining us on the news desk. We are coming to you from the mass media complex in Lusaka. Here now are the top stories. Ukraine pledges support to Zambia in face of drought. Chingola farmers welcome diversified agriculture. Plus, construction of Kawawa Dam in Kasenengwa to be completed by end of the year. With the details, my name is Amos Zulu, and on sign language is Jennifer Shalyonda. Ukrainian Minister of Foreign Affairs Dmytro Kuleba says his country will support Zambia to navigate through the drought crisis. Speaking when he called on President Hakainde Hichilema at State House yesterday, Dr. Kuleba said Ukraine is determined to explore areas of trade in Zambia to further strengthen the bilateral relations between the two countries. Sandy Bwalia now reports.
The effects of drought, which has impacted communities negatively in the country, has attracted development assistance from various stakeholders. Ukraine has promised support to Zambia to help navigate through the adverse effects of climate change.
We appreciate the political solidarity that your country and you personally have expressed against the background of the Russian aggression against Ukraine. My president is grateful for your personal efforts and your personal participation in the group of African leaders who visited Ukraine seeking peace solution. And he conveys his words, his highest regard to you, and the assurance that Ukraine is willing to restore just and lasting peace, and believes that Africa has a role to play in this effort. And today, in our discussions, I intend to raise these issues. Also, our bilateral agenda, because the second purpose of my visit is to explore new opportunities in trade and cooperation between our nations. Finally, I would like to mention that upon instruction of President Zelensky, following your interaction with him, Zambia was included in the Grain from Ukraine program, and we will be able to deliver assistance to Zambia in light of the drought that your country is suffering from.
And President Hakainde Hichilema welcomed the gesture by Ukraine for offering support to Zambia despite the ongoing conflicts in that country.
And your graciousness to, amidst impossible conditions, to think about the people of Zambia, to support the people, us towards drought mitigation is well appreciated. Please pass this message to President Zelensky, the government, and the people of Ukraine, and that this gesture means a lot to us. And that's one of the reasons that post the war, we must work together even more in different areas.
Mr. Hichilema also indicated that the desire of Zambia, SADC, African Union, and United Nations global system is to see to it that conflicts in Ukraine come to an end.
Beyond our bilateral relationship, our expectation is that this agenda, centrality of this agenda item remains so on the SADC platform, which we are members of, on the African Union platform, and indeed on our partnership with the UN global system, that this should be high on the agenda. That is why Zambia has consistently been voting at the UN towards ending hostilities.
Sunday for Zanis in Lusaka.
Also in the news, the Ministry of Finance and National Planning has received over 41.6 million kwacha as dividends from ZCCM Investments Holding ZCCM-IH for 2023 financial year. Speaking in Lusaka during the handover of the check, ZCCM-IH Chief Executive Officer Ndoba Vibeti announced that since 2015, ZCCM-IH has paid out dividends surpassing 1.6 billion kwacha to its shareholders. And Minister of Finance and National Planning, Stumbeko Msokotwane, who received the check, stated that government looks forward to the expansion of other mining companies.
I'm pleased to be here this morning to hand over a dividend check of 41.6 million kwacha to the Ministry of Finance and National Planning from ZCCMIH. The ministry holds a 17.4% stake on behalf of the government of the Republic of Zambia. On Monday last week, we delivered 2 dividend checks totaling 182 million kwacha to our other shareholders, namely the Industrial Development Corporation and the National Pension Scheme Authority, NAPSA. To date, the total dividends paid to all ZCCMIH shareholders since 2015 now exceeds 1.6 billion kwacha. Our capacity to distribute these dividends to shareholders stems from our consistent positive performance over the past decade, anchored on our profitability. These developments, among others, will make a substantial contribution to the country's economic growth and also aligns with the government's vision to elevate Zambia's yearly copper production to 3 million metric tons by 2032. Sir, we extend our gratitude to the Ministry of Finance for its unwavering support in our endeavor to create sustainable wealth for the benefit of the Zambian people and all our shareholders.
On behalf of the Zambian people, I want to say that their money will be looked after very carefully. It will be deployed very carefully, and of course in line with what the Parliament, people's representatives, what they've prescribed. As you recall, in the past few years, this administration has tried very hard under very challenging circumstances to ensure that what Parliament says, this is how you're going to spend the money, that is precisely what we do. Government has worked very hard to pull these assets away from continuous litigation. That's why the President was saying mining was not happening underground. Mining was taking place in courts. Suing each other, taking each other to courts, case after case. But while that was happening, production was going down and down. So we look forward to the expansion in First Quantum. We look forward to the expansion in all these mining companies that I mentioned. Because the more they produce, the more the dividends they pay. But on top of that, separately, the more the taxes they pay. So this is why we've worked very hard in the last 2-3 years to stop the litigations. So with all this, I'm confident that in the coming few years, your checks that you'll be delivering will be getting bigger and bigger. But for now, I want to thank you so much for this check of 41.6 million.
Now, farmers in Chingola district on the Copper Belt province have heeded the call by government to embrace diversified agricultural practices in order to increase food security and improve their livelihood. Take a look at this report.
The call by government and stakeholders for farmers across the country to prioritize and promote diversified agricultural practices has been received well by local farmers in Chingola district on the Copper Belt province. The local farmers, especially those who recently benefited from the 40 heads of cattle procured through the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, are optimistic of success in livestock farming.
Nanguvarupata vaiko ng'ombe chikakwafu okulima chikala kupera myuki ukalyako nenama kulirako mone mpapa
kutera sana kuteko ule tungulula pali nomba pakutupela indalama ishafurisha efi pakutupela ng'ombe pakutusta impawa ichala twafurisha ifwe ne bamutenda ukuya kuntashi mu ulimi wesu mu wikashi wesu n'abana besu n'abenshukuru besu n'abaka kesa pyani na pabe shukuru besu wonse bakachita ko benefit so ichi twatotera twatara chimona po pakuchimona ichi chabe chipakusho kwena bakateka baleomba
totera ba president wesu kupitia muri ba MP kupitia muri ba kansela wonse na
Commerce, Trade and Industry Minister Chipuka Mulenga, who is also area member of parliament, who recently handed over 40 heads of cattle to local cooperatives in his constituency, expects improved livelihoods and food security in local communities.
Inspired by the head of state, working in collaboration with the communities, we decided to buy heads of cattle. And these heads of cattle we have bought is a customized way of developing and empowering our communities. Communities that you see behind me are so keen to making sure that they don't see food, immediate food in this, but they see wealth, which they will use for farming, which they will use for meal production, which they will use for future development in their farming activities and other adventures. We want to transform Chingola into a food basket, not only of the province, but of the country, where even other districts around the province can draw inspiration from what Chingola has done. Which is happy, something that has never been done before. We are doing it. And this CDF is a game changer. Right now we bought cattle for ourselves, 40 heads of cattle, is to see that we can enhance our farming productivity, we can enhance our food security. Look at the climate change that has come. Much areas that in Zambia are affected by the climate change. We thank God that here on the Copper Belt, we have got enough grazing lands, but no animals to graze.
Ian Chomba reporting for Zanis in Chingola.
Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development Permanent Secretary Albert Malama says Zambia currently has a housing deficit of 1.5 million. Professor Malama states that this has prompted government to enter an agreement with cooperating partners to construct houses and cushion the backlog. The permanent secretary was speaking during the signing of a memorandum of understanding with the National Housing Authority and Ongos Valley. Professor Malama added that the housing project is expected to commence in the next 4 months and will be completed within a year. And Ongos Valley Executive Business Affairs and Projects Manager Vaughan Peterson says the smart partnerships his organization will help to solve the current housing deficit in the country. And in health news, the National Food and Nutrition Commission Head of Public Health and Community Nutrition Unit, Reida Habulembe, has called for immediate preventive measures to avoid a severe malnutrition crisis in Zambia. Ms. Habulembe says there is need for the country to adopt an intensive approach for the nutrition social behavior change communication to target all key community members. She states that the data from recent midline and smart surveys commissioned by her institution indicates that Central Province is among the regions which are at high risk of malnutrition, as many families already face hunger and are unable to put nutritious food on the table. She was speaking in Kabwe when she paid a courtesy call on Central Province Permanent Secretary Nyuna Mwanakampwe. And Dr. Mwanakampwe noted that despite the progress made to combat malnutrition, nutrition remains a critical issue for Zambia's health and economic prosperity.
There isn't much change in most of them, although we have done a lot of progress in others. The reason being the issues of the COVID and the other calamities that have occurred. It hasn't allowed us to progress very well. But I can assure you that we are trying hard to make sure that the situation in the country changes.
The positive milestones that were recorded in those various districts are something that have left an indelible mark, and we don't take that for granted. We are aware that as a province, the project under Santie is winding up, and we have been lamenting and hoping that our colleagues through USAID would hear our cry that they are actually withdrawing at a very critical time in a year which is quite perilous, when we had this El Nino thing that brought the drought, and as a result most of the homes or the households, as it were, in the province are stressed.
You are still watching Zanis News. Thank you so much for still staying with us. We take a short break, but when we return, we look at the progress made on the Kawawa Dam in Kasenengwa District. Stay tuned.
The Issue is a program that looks at topical issues happening in the country. Watch The Issue every Friday at 19:30 hours, only on Zanis TV, Channel 6 DTT and Channel 458 DTH on Topstar. Don't miss.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. Construction of the 11 million kwacha Kawawa Dam in Kasenengwa district of Eastern Province is said to be complete before the end of this year. Eastern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Lewis Mwape, who inspected the ongoing works, is happy with the quality of works being undertaken by Sebo Construction Company. Dr. Mwape has, however, urged the contractor to expedite works so that the facility can harvest water as the rainy season approaches.
With the current uncertainties in rainfall patterns due to climate change, the construction of this dam in Kasenengwa district will provide relief to the community here through irrigation and livestock sustenance, among others. This is why community members are looking forward to the completion of this project.
This is the first dam to be constructed in the chiefdom, so we are grateful to government. The dam will be allowing us to farm at any time of the year.
This dam will also be a source of drinking water for our animals. Government has assured the people of the timely completion of Kawawa Dam. The assurance came after Eastern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Lewis Mwape inspected the ongoing works.
As government, last year we embarked on ensuring that we comply ourselves to the existing situations of climate change by ensuring that we develop adequate water systems. This place will cater for about 16 villages, that is about 80,000 community members that will be able to benefit. We have about 5,000 animals that are able also to benefit.
The contractor says about 75% of the works have so far been completed, while the remaining works will be concluded before the end of the year.
We have managed to finish the embankment. As you can see, it is on the crest level. What is remaining is to do the riprap. This is the main work which is remaining. And you can also see at the other side of the dam, there's that black cotton soil. I need also to plant grass there so that I protect it from the erosion. Also, the remaining part, which is the spillway, there's not too much to be done.
This project commenced last year in September. Embankment length is 371 and the spillway is 10 meters. And then the channel that is going to direct water back into the stream is about 140 meters. The spillway, the reservoir capacity is 740,000 cubic meters. That is at designed level. However, we are likely to have more because of the excavation of materials that we got from the reservoir. The purpose of this dam is for irrigation activities, animal watering, as well as fishing.
Abigail Kashweka reporting in Kasenengwa district.
Still in Eastern Province, 600 vulnerable but viable households are set to benefit from the wetland cropping program in Petauke. The program is one of the interventions that government has put in place. Take a look at this report.
Petauke district in Eastern Province has commenced the distribution of inputs under the Legura wetland program, which will benefit 600 beneficiaries. Petauke District Administrative Officer Vincent Chibuye says the program is benefiting those with gardens along the streams.
Petauke District, we have a regular program under wetland where a total of 600 beneficiaries have been identified across the district. This program comes with a package of 1 bag for urea and a 1 by 50 kg bag D compound, as well as a 5 kg seed for those that are involved in gardening.
And Petauke District Community Development Officer outlines the focus of the program.
Fertilizer na mbeu monga repu, cabbage na chimanga na fertilizer ya ma vegetables ndiponso ya midis. So lingo nyakuti ise balimi kuno tinkale na chakudya pamakomo yathu.
Beneficiaries are happy about the support from the government.
Tete kutiona mutiriri tusonyeza kuti tina njala kulingana na mvula myalo kwera lomba boma ngati yachita chinthu chabwino teti tunkhala oyamikira nthawi na nthawi. Funso ni kasi munthu wakupasa menso kuti ukoyanganira uliye menso ungagulise menso.
The program will run for 2 years. Helen Chisha reporting for Zanis in Petauke District, Eastern Province.
Meanwhile, the Citizens Economic Empowerment Commission Director General Muwe Mungule has cautioned leaders of cooperatives against underperformance. He said this in Senanga when he oversaw the distribution of fish cages that were repossessed from cooperatives earlier in January.
As a Citizens Economic Empowerment Commission, CEEC lives up to its principle of upholding teamwork, integrity, accountability, transparency, professionalism, and fairness. As such, when beneficiaries do not align with these principles, interventions are applied. In this regard, CEEC Director General was yesterday in Senanga District to redirect fish cages that were repossessed in January to other cooperatives that are willing to put them to good use. Speaking at a meeting with the cooperative leaders in Senanga, CEEC Director General Dr. Muwe warned against underperformance from the new cooperatives, implying that CEEC would not hesitate to repossess the cages.
If you don't perform, we get them from you. We give them to other deserving people right here in Western Province. So you are not the only ones. You are just privileged that you should be considered to have the cages.
On the other hand, Dr. Muwe pledged that CEEC would increase funding to the cooperatives if it puts the cages to productive use.
If you put to good use these cages, we can actually even fund more for you to have more cages. And eventually you can grow the number of cages on your own from the profits you make.
Dr. Muwe also urged the cooperatives to consolidate CEEC's efforts by raising their own money as well.
But you, as cooperators, you are supposed to make a contribution to the objective you are pursuing so that you can achieve it. Isn't that one of the principles that brings together people to work together? Is to pull together.
Dr. Mulungwe also encouraged the cooperatives to add value to the fish once it's harvested.
We want now to go into value addition. The fish that you produce, we have given you cold rooms, everything. On top of that, we will buy the processing.
These interventions by CEEC underscore its dedication to promoting economic empowerment through collaborative and transparent practices. Francis Kalenga reporting for Zanis in Senanga District, Western Province.
Still on cooperatives, Chama District Administrative Officer Willis Sinkamba has praised Chama Central Youth Cooperative for being vibrant in its operations. Mr. Sinkamba has since called on other cooperatives in the district that are struggling to follow the example set by the Chama Central Youth Project. More in this report.
Transforming Landscapes for Resilience and Development Project, TRARAD, whose objective is to improve natural resource management in northern region of Zambia. In Chama District, the project has empowered and supported 50 sub-projects, and a cooperative has impressed government for remaining viable and active despite the closure of the project.
We are here at the Chama Youth Multipurpose Cooperative, where we've come to witness harvesting of tomatoes. This project, as alluded to earlier by the District Operations Officer, started way back in 2020, of course funded by the government and the World Bank on the project TRARAD. So we are happy as government that we are seeing sustainability here happening. Despite closure of the project, but at least we are able to see that the cooperative is still viable and kicking. Yeah, as we have seen, they are now harvesting tomatoes. To them, they are saying the portion that was cultivated is very small, so they want to increase. And that is a plus on part of us. So, seeing that the project again has kicked, the project again is ticking, we are just encouraging the community that they shouldn't lag behind, but they should continue working hard. The government is seeing. Other projects have failed. Other projects have closed, but this project has continued. So it is a lesson to other projects that are not doing well to emulate from what
the project manager is happy with the cooperative's performance.
We are happy with the results and how the communities are benefiting out of the funding that they received. And this project was funded in 2020. There were challenges here doing a small portion and whatnot, but now we are able to see the big garden area. They are able to produce a lot of tomatoes and take to the markets, which makes us as a project very happy, and we are so confident that the project is sustainable because this won't just end here. They'll keep on doing these activities. And we look at also the climate change. Most communities that we work with have been complaining of not having enough rains. And this
cooperative chair lady is grateful.
Bano kupafani katwa mu 2020 mkatwa mputika mbulima hivi vintu nomba kumasinda project ya kitanga cha nomba hapa lero mputuona utuita viki tuona mopindi ya vintu tukimuona hapa nomba hapa maita nyamua hii tomato tutayabira hapa tukutanguti boma kwa gulisa longa kuna 90 box imua ya mwaona hii pata gulisa kandama katu tutaviki tugana kadoka dosh kwa hipa vula ikaloga makora cha namba mwekaloga makora kandama katu tugana tutanzika kuvichi kuchakulia ndio pindi ya vichi ya imemuona hapa lembo tuona wame wa vichi for garden.
Trarad project in Chama has benefited men and women in rural communities with funds to implement different livelihood activities in order to avoid exploitation of natural resources. Harriet Chilufya for Zanis in Chama district of Eastern Province.
And lastly, in our news, Lifeline Childline Chadiza District Programs Officer Clayson Musute says child rights violations and gender-based violence, GBV, are projected to rise due to the hunger situation in the country caused by the drought. Mr. Musute says the government and its partners has since embarked on awareness campaigns in Lumezi district against vices that are likely to affect children in communities.
President Hakainde Hichilema recently declared a national emergency because of the drought that has devastated the country's food production and electricity generation. 9 state actors, in partnership with the government with support from the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, are targeting areas hit by the drought to support sexual reproductive health and address gender-based violence. Lumezi district, being among areas affected by the drought, has been targeted for various responses, with Lifeline Childline visiting the district to raise awareness on the need to curtail early marriages and teen pregnancies, as well as addressing gender-based violence. Lifeline Childline Chadiza District Programs Officer Clayford Musute says child rights violation and gender-based violence are projected to increase due to the drought-induced hunger.
Amongst the children, we have seen that even as a province, we are still on top in issues to do with the early marriages and teen pregnancies, especially the rural, the newly created districts and the districts that have got a higher percentage of rural part. We discovered that these numbers of teenage pregnancies, the issues of early child marriages, they are quite very high.
He says they have since taken a proactive approach to safeguard children's rights and mitigate gender-based violence through awareness creation, given that Eastern Province is prone to such vices.
Our approach is to go into the communities and discuss with the members of the community on the best ways on how we can prevent issues to do with teenage pregnancies and issues to do with early marriages, to make sure that there should be harmony and peace even within the home setup.
Patrick Soko, Zanis News, Lomeza District, Eastern Province.
That item by Patrick Soko brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, here is a reminder of the top stories. Ukraine pledges support to Zambia in face of drought. Chungola farmers welcome diversified agriculture. And construction of Kawawa Dam in Kasenengwa to be completed by end of this year. We end the news on that note. On behalf of the entire production and news crew and my sign language interpreter, Jennifer Shalionda, my name is Amos Zulu. Enjoy the rest of the programming on Zanis TV. Bye for now.